If a physio ever told you to stop lifting and just rest after getting injured, they didn't give you a plan. They gave up on you. And I say that as a physio. Here's what actually happens when you walk into most clinics with a lifting injury. You describe your pain, they run you through an assessment, maybe they do some range of motion tests, and then they say, stop lifting for now, let it settle, we'll reassess in a few weeks. And that sounds reasonable, it sounds careful, it sounds like they're protecting you, but what they just told you is they don't have a plan to get you back. Because rest isn't a plan, rest is a placeholder. And the reason it's the default isn't because the evidence supports it. It's because it's safe. If they tell you to rest and you rest, then nothing gets worse, and they can't be blamed for that. It's the lowest liability answer in the room. The problem is that nothing gets worse is not the same as you get better. And for a lifter, staying still isn't neutral. Every week you're out, you're losing strength, you're losing tissue capacity, you're losing the movement patterns that you spent years building. Rest has a cost. Most clinics just never put that on the table. This is the problem. There's deconditioned on one end, full function on the other, and most rehab just kind of leaves you in the gap. The assumption is that if you just rest long enough, the body will figure out the middle on its own. Sometimes it does, but you lose strength, you lose confidence, you lose momentum, and then you come back weaker than before and wonder why the injury keeps coming back. Here's what gets me. Physiotherapy, as a profession, exists specifically to restore function. That is the whole job. You go to school for years to learn how the body moves, how tissue heals, and how to progressively load someone back to full capacity. And yet, the most common prescription in clinics is still stop, rest, and avoid what hurts. That's not rehab, that's just waiting. And I'm not saying that every physio is bad at their job, but I am saying that a huge number of clinicians never actually learned how to take a lifter, someone with real performance goals, from injured back all the way up to baseline and then beyond. They learned how to get people out of pain. That's it. And those are not the same thing. Getting someone out of pain is step one, but a lifter doesn't want to just be out of pain. They want to squat heavy again, they want to snatch again, they want to hit their next deadlift PR. They want to know they're not going to break every time they try and push themselves. And that requires a completely different set of programming knowledge that most physios never learned and never sought out. So when a lifter walks in with a shoulder injury and leaves with a sheet of TheraBand exercises and a take it easy for 6 weeks, that's not conservative management. That's a knowledge gap dressed up as caution. So what does it actually look like to do this right? Well, it starts with finding an entry point. You don't immediately go from injured right back to squatting your previous max. Nobody's saying that. But there is always something you can do. There's always a variation, a range of motion, a load that your body can tolerate right now. And that's where you start. Maybe it's a goblet squat to a high box. Maybe it's a heel elevated variation with a kettlebell. Maybe it's a single leg variation that completely offloads the problem area while you keep building. And it's not just lower body. If your shoulder is beat up, we're not just shutting down pressing. We're finding the grip, the angle, the load that works for you right now. If your back is flared up, we're not avoiding the gym. We're finding the hinge variation that keeps you moving while the tissue recovers. The point is, that entry point exists for almost every injury. And every week you build from it. You find where the edge is, you work just inside it, and then you push it forward. That's the bridge, from where you are now to where you were and past it. The strength you keep during that process matters. The movement patterns you maintain matter. The confidence that you are not broken, that your body is not something to be protected from lifting, that matters more than anything. The longer you stay out, the more you lose. And the more you lose, the harder the road back gets. If you've been told to rest and you're just sitting and waiting for it to get better, I promise there's almost certainly a path back that no one's shown you yet. That's what I do, and that's what this whole channel is about. If you're not following already, hit that subscribe button. I post about this stuff regularly. And if you want me to map out what that looks like for you specifically, check the link in the description and we can book a call and figure it out together. Thanks for watching.